Hey guys, it's Dana and it's Tuesday and it's time to talk about money because that's what we do every Tuesday here on my channel. And today I'm going to share with you some small ways that you can simplify your life to guarantee wealth. All right, so throughout my life, I feel like I've really complicated a lot of things repeatedly. Actually, anytime anything comes up, I feel like I make it complicated and it has just added stress to my life. It's added debt. It has taken away joy. And I think that I complicate things unnecessarily. And so I'm really working on simplifying things. And it can be that can mean complex things or really simple things in your life that maybe you haven't really thought about. And so I'm going to start out with the first one, which I feel like is kind of something you would think that we would all do, but we don't. And that is location. So number one in your life is where you're living and the things that you participate in, for example, church. So when my husband and I moved to the town that we're currently living in, we continued to commute to the church that I belong to, along with my family members that I had been at. And so it was a 30-minute drive to get to church. And I was just like, oh, it's 30 minutes. That's no big deal. And so we did that for, I think, 6 years, 30 minutes there. All of our kids were baptized at that church. And it's a wonderful church. It really is. But it's kind of far away. And I didn't think it was that far away, but then I realized we were actually the furthest members traveling. I think we were the furthest going to that church. Everybody there still is wonderful, but it was too far for us to be driving, and it was making it so we were not really part of everybody at that church was part of a different community than we were. And literally 2 minutes up the street is another Methodist church. And so we're Methodist, and we switched to that church, and it was life-changing, but it was hard. It wasn't life-changing in the beginning. It was hard to switch churches because if you are, you're used to your people, so to speak. And so going to a new church was really difficult. Walking in there, nobody knew me, nobody knew us, no one knew our family. And so I felt like a stranger for a good year. It took some time for me to really develop relationships, get comfortable with the different little nuances, the differences between the two different services and the way they run things, their Sunday school program. It took me some time. But now that we've been going to this new church for a couple years, it has really changed our life. We more frequently go to church every Sunday because it's right up the street. A lot of people in church are within our community, so we've gotten recommendations of different things, different services. People can help us more, I feel, because we're all, local, and it's made a really big difference. It saved us money, not as much money in gas to drive back and forth to church, and we can just be more involved. And I think that we overcomplicated that part of our life. Even Christmas Eve service was hard to drive all the kids when they were little to 30 minutes away on Christmas Eve and then come back. And now it's just right up the street. It's so easy. Everybody's a little bit happier going to church, and it's made a huge difference. So, and that doesn't have to be, maybe you don't go to church, maybe it's something else, but other things too in your life that you might be traveling a distance, even if it's like your kids' karate school, location makes a big difference, and you want it to be as close to your home as possible. Work, where you work, your office, I think, the closest you can get it to your home, it obviously is going to improve your life because you're spending less time in the car, more time at home, more time with your kids, less money on gas, and you're probably spending less money on fast food if you work closer to home. If you have a gym, your child's daycare, all these things. And there's a big debate about whether or not your child's daycare should be close to your office if you work or close to home. We're trying to make everything close to home. Because work can change the location of your work, and we figure that our home is going to be stable because we've made the commitment to be stable in the town that we're in for our children to stay, so that they can stay in the same school district all the way through, which is something that I never had. So it just really simplifies our life, and I think it's saving us a lot of money. All right, so next I want to talk about school, which is maybe something that you've already done, already completed, so you might have already sort of failed this. But if you're thinking about going to college or you are thinking of going back to college, then I think it's really important to think about choosing something to study that actually has a job market, right? So this seems pretty simple, like basic, as if we would all do this, but a lot of us may not even think about it, but you want to make sure that you're going to school for something you know you're going to be able to find a job in, so that you're going to actually have a return on that investment of going to school. So you don't end up graduating with a degree, but that's something that's not applicable in the job market, or you're spending a lot of time and energy trying to find work because it's just really a narrow field that there's not a lot of demand for. And of course, there's some, you want to do what you're passionate about, but your passion can really turn into a nightmare if you go to school for something that you think you just love, you're passionate about it, but you can't find work, you can't make any money, and then it's difficult to eat, to pay your rent, and pay back if you took loans. Hopefully you didn't take any loans, but if you're trying to pay back bills and you can't make any money, it is so stressful. So go to school for something that you'll be able to find a job in, and make it simple. You don't want to, overcomplicate where you're going to school, double major this, you have a major in that, a minor in this, or 2 minors in that. I just think if you go to school for something very clear and you have a clear path in front of you, then it's going to make your life a lot easier and going to help you to build wealth. And then if you want to go back to school later and study something for fun, once you have built your wealth, or you've built up enough equity in you have enough investments, your net worth is high enough, then you can go back to school for something that's fun and kind of volunteer in that, then that's great. But I think starting out, it's best to do something that's really clear-cut, simple, definitely lots of job opportunities in it, and you're going to be able to make money and find a job right away. Okay, so next is to not borrow money from your friends or family. Don't lend them money either, but don't borrow money from your family. It's going to really make things complicated in your life. It's going to make holidays really bad and awkward. You might think not. You might think, my aunt so-and-so is so nice, or, my parents are so great, they're going to lend me this money. But if you borrow money from friends and family, it will complicate your life in some way, if only within inside of you. Even if they're so kind, they're so nice, they're so patient, it's just going to impact the way you interact with them when you see them. And it's not a good feeling, because it means that you are a slave to them, essentially, and they're your master, right? That's the crux of it when you borrow money from people. And so to simplify your life, do not borrow money from people that you are friends with or from family members. Also, don't live with them. Don't live with friends and family. Friends, if you have a roommate, maybe that can be fine, that can work out, but do not live with family if you can help it, because you want to be out on your own, doing your own thing. Even if that means you're living in like a dive apartment, it's still going to be better because it gives you your own autonomy, and then you can relate better to people. And it just really does make things more confusing and complicated when you're living with your family. Next, I'm going to say to pick what you value with parents, with school activities. It can be really hard when you have multiple children and you start enrolling them in all these different things. It can complicate your children's lives, your life. You're driving kids all over the place to different things. So I think it's better actually for you and for your children to just pick out 1 or 2 extracurricular activities and things that you really value. So take some time to really think about it, talk about it with your children, see what they really seem to have an aptitude for, and just do 1 or 2. Don't go crazy with the activities, because again, you're going to have too much on your plate. Your calendar is going to be overfull. You're not going to know what's going on. You're going to start missing things, and it's going to get expensive. So just be really careful with what you sign up for as far as activities, and really try to minimize it. All right, and then overall, to do this, to simplify your life, obviously you know those things like decluttering your house, less things you have in your home, the better. If you can keep your dining room table cleared off, you don't have a bunch of junk on it. If you just kind of can minimize all of the things in your home, it's going to help you think clearer. But that's kind of like basic, that's like a minimalism thing. But I do think it helps if you can. We have one big bin for each of the children. It's a tub trug, which I love those things. But one big, it's like a circle-shaped tub trug, and they have to put all their toys in that one tub trug. And if it doesn't fit into that, then I'm trying to get rid of the overflow. They can only have as many toys as fit in that one bin, and that's it for their bedrooms. And then that's going to hope to get rid of a lot of the extra toys that we have laying around. All right, so those are just some small ways that you can simplify your life in a big way, and it will save you money and help you to focus on more important things, help you to build wealth. Like I said, I think the most important thing is to think about being local with all the things that you do. Really tighten it up to your community if you can. Also your doctors, your dentist you go to. You want everything to be really local. You don't want to spend time driving a long way. I know some family members that drive an hour to go to a certain dentist, and I just, I used to go to that dentist too, and I changed to one that was right nearby, and it has made things so much better. It's so much easier just to go right up the street to our doctors and then, get it over with. So what are some ways that you guys simplify your life? I'd love to hear. Leave some comments down below so that we can all come up with some other new ideas of how to simplify things and how to save money so that we can build wealth and so that we have more options, more choices for our family and build a legacy for our children. I am here every single Tuesday talking all about money. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.